If you're not familiar with the history of Baltimore's high-rises, Murphy Homes has stood for nearly 40 years and is considered a failed housing project. I sat down with the man who is trying to rewrite the city's housing history.
It didn't make sense to start with, this high density of people stacked up. It was a good decision that I think the people made based on the best information in front of them at the time. But then they built them essentially to be inferior and built them to last a very short period of time.
It's the next stage of West Side redevelopment, blowing up what was to be the savior of housing problems for blacks and the poor in the 1940s, when segregated housing was the rule.
What was then known as the Negro Housing Plan. The idea was essentially so that the African American population would not then mix with the white population of the city. And so building these high-rises, building these towers on these sites was an opportunity basically to further what was the law of the land.
Henson says the high-rise concept had inherent problems, sturdy concrete structures, but inside the cheapest materials, buildings built to fall apart, never designed to last several decades.
The high-rises were built on the concept of a European designer. At that time they were known as the Radiant City. But after 40 years as a failed project, it's obvious they do not work. The alternative is neighborhoods like this.
When Lafayette Square came down, many of the residents moved here to Pleasant View Gardens. Families like the Martins tell why the high-rise didn't work for them.
It was too many drugs down there for one thing, and the elevators didn't hardly work. If somebody gets sick, the ambulance would have to come there. They had to bring the person down the steps.
To me, it was like a cage, actually, just built on top of each other.
Now the city hopes compiled memories of another failed chapter in Baltimore housing will topple with the walls.
And of course, if you want to watch this morning's implosion, here are 5 great viewing sites. You can take a look at the map on your screen. Most of the implosion activity will be at the grandstand area, which is at Mulberry and Schroeder Streets. And of course, you can watch all of the...
They stood like dinosaurs, outdated skeletons, soon to be dust.
If you live in the projects, you can live anywhere. And I live 725 George Street, apartment 12F. And I never thought I could make it through it, but I did. And I had 10 grandchildren, 4 children that came from there.
She and thousands more came to witness the end of Murphy Homes, to watch 500 pounds of dynamite tear through concrete and memories.
We will remember, but we want to move forward in the future with a great deal of confidence.
It's a little bit after 9:30 now, and the festivities are continuing. It's hard to believe that in less than 30 minutes, those 4 buildings, a part of Baltimore history, will be gone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit it!
And then you saw history made live on Eyewitness News. It took less than 30 seconds to bring down 36 years of Baltimore history.
I got chills, my eyes got kind of teary, you know, because it's not just about rehabilitating houses, it's about rehabilitating people's lives.
There were tears.
She didn't want to see it come down because she went to school there, and she's upset that the building is coming down. What's wrong, sweetheart?
But for most, it was a time to celebrate. A place that once stood for segregation, now falling for change.
It's the best thing could have happened to us today, everybody. We're going to have a whole brand new life to live right in there.
Katie Lahan, WJZ, Eyewitness News.
Crime and violence made Murphy Homes one of the most dangerous projects in the city. But with tears and cheers, people put away their fears and look forward to a brighter future. After the implosion, there was more parading to do, and more partying, and more promoting.
We'll have the site cleared from the implosion in about October. We'll do a groundbreaking then, and we'll kick off the reconstruction of that site as Heritage Crossing. Now, Heritage Crossing will be actually moving people in there next year this time.
And there's still the Flag House project that has to go, so we'll be back to watch them implode. Same time next year. Now, the city's also making plans to demolish the Highlander Ridge housing project, so Eyewitness News will continue to cover the progress.
People are really talking about this morning, and yes, it's the Murphy Homes explosion. A tremendous explosion is going to rock part of Baltimore this morning, as we've mentioned. We're talking about the implosion
Not yet, of the Murphy Homes public housing project in Baltimore. Jean Ross is on the site with the latest on the countdown to detonation. Jean, good morning.
Good morning to you, Katie. A lot of activity down here. We're down here at the main staging area. We're down here at Mulberry and Poppleton Streets, where you can see they're setting up for the stage. This is where all the dignitaries, the mayor, the housing commissioner, a lot of city council people, they're all going to be here to actually watch the implosion of the Murphy Homes high-rises. These buildings have been here since 1963, and over 700 families have long since been moved into other areas. Some of them have been relocated out into the counties, other areas of the city. Now, eventually, here on this spot, there will be a brand new complex of townhomes, a park, and these residents will have the option to actually come back if they would like to return to the city. It's going to be called Heritage Crossing. It's a $56 million complex, and everybody is very excited about it. When the high-rises were first built, these were built back in 1963, as a matter of fact. They were done to, give poor people or people that live in urban areas way to a better life. However, they kind of turned into drug infested areas and not the safest places to live. So this is a good day all around. Sky High Chopper 13 is here, and we're showing you the buildings live. Get a look at them now, because the countdown is underway to implode these buildings. They will no longer be a part of the Baltimore skyline. History again to be made here in Baltimore today. Several areas have been set up for people to come down and view the implosion. One will be set up at Pennsylvania and Preston Streets, Martin Luther King and Druid Hill Avenue for another one, Schroeder and Mulberry, which is right up the street from where we are now, Pine and Saratoga, and Martin Luther King and Saratoga. And at 9 o'clock, several streets around this area are going to be closed off. So it's going to be a day-long celebration. There's a parade involved from Harlem Park, a party at the Avenue Market, and parties continuing into the night. So it's a big day here at the Murphy Homes implosion, Katie, and I know you're going to be covering it live at 10.
I'm going to be leaving the studio about 8:45, and I'll be heading down there to join you, Jean.
And I tell you what, it's hot down here already.
Is it? Okay, well, I'll bring you some water or something, okay?
Yes, please do.
And for heavy, too, yes, okay. All right, we'll see you a little bit later.
All right.
Jean Ross reporting live for us downtown. Well, an event of this magnitude brings a lot of traffic to that part of the city, and several streets are going to be shut down. Let's go to Rush Altman now. He has the latest from the traffic team. Hi, Rush, good morning.
It takes a lot to wake me up this early on a Saturday morning. I want you to know that. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, that's going to be one of the major roads shut down, and that's going to be the problem if you're commuting into or out of the city, happen to be going to work or downtown toward the Inner Harbor. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard around Pennsylvania Avenue will be shut down. Also, Pennsylvania Avenue over to Martin Luther King. Anywhere basically on MLK between the Social Security offices, the State Office Complex, all the way down toward 295 will be shut down. Also affected, Route 40, as you can see in this picture, and I-170 there toward the bottom of the screen. 40, of course, Franklin Street at that point. Just a lot of closures around that sector of Seton Hill, so do expect the delays moving in toward the city. At least until noon today, they will have most of those areas of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard shut down. Katie, back to you.
Thanks for getting up with us, Rush.
Anytime.
We'll check back with Rush in about half an hour from now. Well, if you haven't seen past implosions in person, now's your chance. Check out this map for the 5 viewing sites. Check out this map. There we go. Check out this map where you can see the 5 viewing sites. You're sure to get a great view there. Most of the implosion activity is going to be at the grandstand area at Mulberry and Schroeder Streets. Once again, those streets are going to close at 9 a.m. Or, of course, you can just watch it here because we're going to be carrying it live.
Certainly are. You watch us, and of course at 10 o'clock we'll be on live with it from the air and the ground. And of course, while the traffic stopping event is just hours away, Alex Dimitrick takes us behind the scenes of the Murphy Homes implosion.
It's hard to think of this as just another day at the office, but it's what Controlled Demolition Incorporated does. And this Saturday, the Maryland explosives experts will dynamite this, the 4 14-story high-rises of Murphy Homes.
Initially, we thought that it would take about 500 pounds of explosives to bring all 4 buildings down. But based on the test blast that we had, which you'll see, Alex, we're able to reduce the amount of explosives that we had to about 370 pounds for all 4 buildings. So as you can see, what we've done is cleared out all the interior partitions of the building. So basically it's just standing up on its legs. It's reinforced concrete columns.
What you're looking at is the result of an explosives test run just this morning. As you can see, the supporting column has been all but totally destroyed, and it took only a wafer-thin slice of dynamite to do it. To bring the buildings down, half a stick of dynamite will go into each charge. Electric blasting caps go into the dynamite, and the dynamite goes into the columns, wired to explode in a precise sequence, dropping the buildings straight down.
Every ounce of energy it took to put every brick into place is potential energy, just waiting to be used. So basically, if we knock out a column on the end of the building, it's just like knocking your leg out.
Was it fun to watch them come down?
Oh, it's great fun. Great fun.
For the next 2 days, explosives will be set. Saturday morning at 10 a.m., they'll be set off. And what will it look like? Well, a lot like the blasts 2 years ago that brought down Lexington Terrace. Alex Dimitri, WJZ, Eyewitness News.
And of course, as we've mentioned to you several times this morning, stay tuned to Eyewitness News throughout the hour for continuing coverage with live updates. Plus, you can watch live coverage of the implosion of Baltimore's Murphy Homes at 10 o'clock this morning right here.